After everyone has vacated the scene, Otello is free to spend the night with his beloved Desdemona. They sing a love duet which opens with soothing music. It generates an atmosphere thickly steeped in ardor. The music imposes inner tranquility. It reflects Otello's emotional state at this point. His first few lyrics are about how his love for Desdemona is like a sanctuary where his heart can heal from the troubles of the world. Listen to how Del Monaco's singing conveys such sentiments by softening his voice in a way that it matches the mood of the background music well. Vocal horsepower doesn't always have to be shrill, loud and forceful. Penetrative power is not all there is to it. There's the weight as well. In that excerpt, Del Monaco may be singing at half or less of his earlier volume, but you can still feel the weight of his voice. When you listen carefully, you can hear that his voice is sitting quite low. It's weighed down just like how the musical atmosphere is heavily loaded with romance. This weight gives the duet a quiet intensity. After Otello, Desdemona sings about her joy of finally being together with Otello. A dramatic tenor's female partner doesn't necessarily have to possess as much vocal horsepower as he does. Her voice just needs to be big enough not to be drowned out by his. Del Monaco's partner here is soprano Gabriella Tucci, who plays Desdemona in this performance. The words "soavi abbracciamenti" and the last line from this excerpt are sung sweetly and softly. The sweetness or purity of tone and the ability to move the heart in a gentle way which Tucci exhibited here are features of lyrical singing associated with lyric singers. Remember the table for the various weight categories of the voices of opera singers? Lyric sopranos have the lightest voices among the singers of their voice category. In opera, a particular role is to be performed by a singer under a specific voice category whose voice has to be of a certain weight. The weight of the singer's voice reflects their character's age. The lighter the singer's voice, the younger their character. To use Verdi's Otello as an example, the lyric soprano role of Desdemona is a young girl, while the dramatic tenor role of Otello is a mature man. Old men in Italian opera from the Romantic period onwards are played by basses. The last line from the excerpt we just heard is sung slightly differently from the rest of it. Tucci sings it somewhat sweeter and softer, like a character is dreaming. This line marks the transition to the next musical section. In this way, this duet is different from the duets in earlier operas, where the transitions are marked by sung conversations propelling their drama forward. In the next musical section, Desdemona and Otello sing about how they fell in love with one another. Desdemona begins by singing about how the stories Otello told her about his past exploits when they first met swept her off her feet. Otello continues from there by reliving them as he recalls those stories. The stories had a compelling and rousing effect on Desdemona when she first heard them. Del Monaco reproduces that here with his vivid singing.
L'idea dell'armi
The increasing volume evokes the increasing amount of danger Otello recalls exposing himself to as he scales the walls of the enemy fortress and comes within reach of the enemy's arrows. Del Monaco finishes on a hysterical note. It makes us feel Otello shaken by his recollection of the dangers he had to undergo before attaining his current position. For him to lose his composure in that instant, those dangers must have been formidable. Desdemona restores the peace in Otello's heart by taking over from him with a dreamy account of Otello's homeland in the African desert. When I listened to that excerpt, I felt that Tucci's voice was transporting me across the sands of the Sahara. Desdemona completes this musical section by singing about how Otello had commenced his journey from his homeland as a slave. It moves Otello to sing about how her empathy won over his heart. Desdemona responds by singing how she saw through his lowly origins to his noble heart. The both of them now affirm their love for one another at what is regarded to be the high point of their love duet. Otello declares that his relationship with Desdemona has made him the happiest he's ever been in his life. Del Monaco brings the weight of his voice to bear on this declaration, endowing it with a strong sense of conviction. This is another example of him capitalizing on his vocal horsepower. Until now, throughout this duet, there have been 3 moments when Del Monaco exploited his vocal horsepower. The first was at its opening when he used the weight of his voice to ground the duet in its quiet intensity. The second was during his reminiscence of his past exploits, where he used the power of his voice to render it as fascinating to us as how they could captivate Desdemona. The third was just now, when he used the weight of his voice a second time to show the major impact of her love. These examples prove that vocal horsepower does amplify the impact of the love scenes in an opera. Even if in this duet, vocal horsepower is only required of the dramatic tenor, there's still more than enough to make this duet one of the most potent in all of opera. After all, the enormous reserves of vocal horsepower required by the role of Otello allows the dramatic tenor to cover for his soprano partner. Besides, Otello gains dominance at this stage of the duet. Before this, Otello and Desdemona were equal players. Otello is now in such bliss, he will seize the initiative and play the role of the active lover. Nevertheless, he and Desdemona first poetically express their hopes that their mutual romance will never wane. Otello has been long accustomed to misery and loss as a former slave who rose to be a general. When he discovers joy he never dreamed of in the form of Desdemona, he is overwhelmed to the point of collapse. He craves for a kiss with Desdemona. Otello and Desdemona exchange a few kisses. The night has crossed the high water mark. They conclude their love duet with a demonstration of high notes. This is a romantic scene, so they are delivered with tenderness instead of strength. Hear how both Del Monaco and Tucci stretch their high notes to give their duet a brilliant finale. The love duet we've just listened to is one of the most impressive in all of opera. There's much more to this duet than the usual proclamations of love for one another. It doesn't merely tell us about the comfort and delight Otello and Desdemona derive from it. It also tells us about how they first got together and what they have in mind for their future together. This duet literally sums up their entire relationship. Vocal horsepower has contributed a lot to that, but it's not the only factor. Another factor is its design. Verdi and Boito were able to invest this much into the duet because of the short musical sections they used to assemble it. We've already heard quite a number of those sections. Each of the extracts from the duet which we've sampled is a section. Most of them should have its own individual melody, a melody which enhances the meaning of the words or infuses them with a certain emotion. We could hear such rich flashbacks. The comfort and delight which takes hold of Otello and Desdemona when they are together could seem so realistic because of the many different kinds of melodies Verdi used here. The flashbacks, as well as the realism of Otello and Desdemona's emotions, expand the dramatic scope of their duet and also heighten its emotional depth, shaping its magnificence. If you had fun watching this video, please help me like it. If you like to continue chasing this series, please subscribe to my channel. If you wish to express your views about it or discuss it further, please feel free to leave a comment. Thank you and stay tuned.